just like to talk about my opinions, and I've recently been hearing about a bunch of internet stuff, like all these Andrew Tates and Sneakos and whatever they're people, like red pill stuff. So I just thought, well, first, isn't this stuff obvious? And second, well, I might as well check into some other stuff. And yeah, let's begin. This video is How to Conquer Atheism in 8 Minutes by this guy. I'm gonna see how good the arguments are, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, let's begin this. Okay, no.
Chapter number 52, verse number 35. Very simple question. In chapter number 52, verse number 35 of the Quran, it says, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ. Were they created from nothing, or were they themselves the creators of themselves? Now, if you speak to an educated atheist, they will not deny the fact that the universe had a beginning, because this is pretty much scientifically proven through the expanding universe.
Okay, science is based off of empiricism, basically, our five senses and what we can record. And our five senses have consistently shown incompetence, therefore science is not a valid argument for why the universe should have an origin point. Or why you should say that the universe does, but go on.
The universe, for example, we know that it had a beginning, since it's still expanding.
We technically don't know, and how does something expanding prove that it had a beginning?
However, when you start speaking to them about what happened before the universe, this is when you'll get an unsure answer. They'll say,
okay, I'll answer for them, or for myself, I should say. If the universe is all of space and time and matter, then hypothetically, there wasn't anything that happened beforehand. The universe has always existed. Because, that's how time works. Time is existing and continuing existing and existing in the past. And if the universe hypothetically is time and space, then therefore you couldn't say that there was anything before the universe because there was no time before the universe, unless you wish to argue that there was a higher form of time. But time is connected intrinsically and inextricably to space. So
we don't know. And this is the first point of contention. If they don't know, then why do they call themselves atheists? Since that word means without God. And agnostic, which is a better word, means without knowledge, because it comes from the two Greek.
Technically, let's look this up. Okay, so an atheist. Okay, let's read here.
Atheists. Since that word means without God. And agnostic, which is a better word, means without knowledge, because it comes from the two Greek words, without meaning without, and gnostos meaning knowledge, meaning without knowledge. Moving on now.
No, that's just an incorrect definition, as I clearly just showed by looking up at the dictionary. Agnostics believe that there is a God of sorts, but he, she, its nature is inconceivable and unknowable to humankind, whereas atheists do not believe that there is any such God in the first place, or gods.
Now, if you really want to stop an atheist in his tracks, all you really
or her tracks
require is one deductive argument. And deduction has always been part of the scientific method and maths, and thus it's really the strongest kind of.
Doesn't God say in the Bible at one point explicitly that my thoughts are higher than your thoughts and that you don't have any way to understand my thoughts and intentions and my plan? Only that you have to have faith and trust in it? Would that by default not nullify the scientific method? Just a genuine question. I'm not gonna say like it does or it doesn't, just a question.
Of logical argument. Now, the argument goes like this: that everything, number one, everything that begins to exist has a cause.
Everything that begins to exist has a cause. Interesting. Interesting.
Let me say that one more time. Everything that begins to exist has a cause.
If time and space are encompassed within the universe and the universe was at some point formulated, well, first off, that's a contradictory statement because if the universe has time and space, the universe would have always existed.
And number two, that the universe began to exist.
Hypothetically, like I just said, if the universe has all time and space, the universe would have always existed and therefore there would not have been a beginning or ending. Similarly, a pantheist, or the idea that God is the universe and the universe is God, say that, well, if God is the universe and the universe is God, then therefore God would not have a beginning or end, right? Therefore, the universe will have always existed, therefore it never began to exist in the first place. It's beyond the concept of temporality as we understand it.
As we've just mentioned. 3 logically follows, which is the universe therefore has a cause. Now, the question is, what kind of cause is this? Because if we say that that cause had a cause, and that cause had a cause, and that cause had a cause, and we go regressively infinitely backward, then we would have an infinitely regressive line. Thus, it's completely appropriate and completely necessary for that cause to be uncaused, to have no beginning, and to have the knowledge and creative capacity to change the situation.
A cause without a cause? Okay, let's look up the definition of cause, because this seems contradictory to me. Okay, so first off, here's the thing. The universe... Is the universe even a phenomenon? Some synonyms to phenomenon, I should say, are occurrence, event, happening, fact, situation, circumstance. Now, the universe would hypothetically contain all situations, circumstances, occurrences, events, right? It's pretty obvious. It's pretty universal. mathematically agreed upon, no pun intended there, that the universe should contain all of time and space, unless you believe in the multiverse. But that's a different story. Um, it a phenomenon is defined as a fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen. First off, there's a good there is people have believed that we could be in a simulation or something like that, which would automatically negate the idea of cause. I actually have my own thoughts on how the world works in a way, but that's a different story. Or a situation that is observed to exist or happen. First off, we can't observe the entirety of the universe. So, and second off, the universe isn't a situation. Like the universe encapsulates everything, and therefore, it's not definable by cause and effect.
So, the only way an atheist can really destroy this argument is by destroying one of the two premises. One, which is that that everything that begins to exist has a cause. They can try and prove that, but then have to show why and how things don't come into existence.
But they do. Okay, on the quantum level, there are particles that are constantly popping in and out of existence, a particle and an antiparticle, and when they collide, they cease to exist. Well, there's a Kurzgesagt video about that, or that mentions that. I'm gonna link it in the description. But suffice to say, things do pop into existence. Additionally, how is the universe expanding? So,
Popping into existence.
matter is continuously flowing into existence or expanding in existence because the universe is expanding. You said so yourself. Scientists said so. Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis. They won't be able to show you this scientifically or empirically. The other premise is that the universe began to exist, and as we said, science pretty much confirms this reality. Now, this really, I'll leave it open for the atheist. Try and...
The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a very good. A systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular subject. That's a good word too. But okay, the study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world. Well, like I said, humans can't see the entirety of the universe, and a lot of science is actually theoretical, and thusly, science is not necessary, nor should be a logical way to conclude how and why the universe exists.
and break down this logical argument. Try and break it down.
We did.
Another argument that you can bring forward to the atheist is what's referred to commonly as the fine-tuning argument. Now, before I begin, I want to define fine-tuning here as that the universe is so fine-tuned that it would allow life to exist. I'm not talking necessarily about aesthetics, how beautiful the universe is or whatever. I'm talking about this particular definition, that it allows life, any kind of life, to exist anywhere in the universe. Yeah? Now, if you look at...
Isn't tuning the present tense of tune? So the universe is constantly changing to be habitable for life by the wording's definition, but okay, go on.
Paul Davies, for example, is a cosmologist. He said that now there's broad, basically, agreement. He said there's a broad agreement between the physicists and cosmologists that the universe is fine-tuned for human life. And this is a broad agreement between theists and atheists, believers and disbelievers, right?
Believers and disbelievers. Interesting way of putting it, but suffice to say, let me ask you this. Science, as what you've referred to several times, clearly shows that we evolved from something, right? We evolved from something. We can see it in the bones and whatnot, etc., etc. Well, here's my question now. If science shows that we've evolved from something, and the world is changing, as we know, because of the fact that life was at one we've seen it via science, as you've mentioned, which I'm not going to explain here. We've seen two things: life evolves and the universe is not in the same state constantly. Therefore, would it not be more logical to come to the conclusion that life is just adapting to the universe rather than the fact that the universe is adapting to life? I don't know. Like the idea that the universe is specifically tailored for us, first off, does a disservice to the sheer amount of work humanity collectively has just done and learned. And second off, it seems a little self centered of us on our end. But yeah, the universe is trying to destroy us, if I'm being honest. And whatever anyone wants to attribute it to why we aren't destroyed instantly, or etc., etc., it's just the fact that we're here. We're here in the now, but time could be an illusion. But suffice to say, we have made it through this universe. There has been a great deal of fortune, luck, skill, fortune, like actual ability, and also maybe there is a higher power. But a part of it is up to us to evolve and adapt and accept the challenge. But continue.
So you don't have to believe in God to recognize this reality. Now there are three actual options as you can choose.
Okay, I have an actual question for everyone. Why do we associate God with the concept of being the creator of the universe? Okay, I'm gonna look up the definition. Why did I misspell that so bad? I don't know. The creator and ruler of the universe and source of all moral authority, the supreme being. Well, doesn't this definition contradict itself? First off, aren't morals up to the individual? So, oof. Second off, the creator and ruler of the universe. So, the creator and ruler of the universe and source of all moral authority. Well, here's the thing, right? If you created the universe, which as we defined contains us and all, etc., everything, hypothetically, would it not be that technically evil was created as a concept and possibility because the creator of the universe created everything? So it's either that God created everything and or he created or he didn't create everything because we created some things. Bada bing, bada boom.
Choose one of them. To how this universe became so finely tuned. Option number one is that it evolved somehow. Well, this option is not available in physics, and there's no.
Yes, it is. There are things constantly happening in the universe. There's stars going out, meteors crashing into planets. It's happening all the time. We've literally seen it firsthand. It's how the dinosaurs got bye-byed. The universe, and technically the term wouldn't be evolving so much as changing, because evolving implies it's alive, and evolving also implies it's heading towards a higher path, and so you shouldn't associate that concept with the universe, which is an inanimate um, inanimate collective object. What is the universe exactly? Oh, right, everything. So the universe can't even be described as animate or inanimate. But, continue.
Actual evidence of that at all. And no serious physicist has ever made such a proposition.
Because evolving is not a human, a life-based concept. It's based on the idea that the thing is alive or sentient. The universe has no agency, last I checked. And if it does, well, it's yet to be seen. But evolution is associated with the agency of something.
Thus, it's unscientific. Thus, you cannot say that.
Once again, science is basically based on empiricism. They're interconnected for sure. But yeah, go on, my boy.
Option number 2 is that the universe is like this because it's a random generation, it's a chance factor. And this is what lots of atheists actually do say. Now, having said that,
Okay, chance is a possibility of something happening. If the universe is everything, well, it would have always existed. But let's say the universe at some point popped into existence, and back when there was no time and whatever, right? Well, that means that wasn't a chance. So I suppose you're right there in a sense. But depending on how you define it, you either say, A, chance is a concept of something or the possibility of something happening, and because the universe didn't exist and the universe is everything or the multiverse is everything, nothing could have possibly happened, and therefore, oof, he's actually got y'all there. I don't. I actually think that in that sense, you can't necessarily argue it's a product of chance if you believe the fact that the universe contains everything. But I'm not gonna go too deep into this.
if you look at Roger Penrose, he's a physicist in Oxford University. He was talking about the entropy levels in the beginning of the universe, and he says that the possibility of the entropy level being the way it is in the beginning of the universe is, and he says, 10 to the
What's
power
with
of
the
10
camera angles, y'all?
times 123. And that's a big number. That's just one calculation for one of the components of the universe in the beginning, of the early stages of the universe. Now, having said that, you should know through just this evidence that saying it's a chance factor that the universe came into being is a ridiculous option that shouldn't even be uttered. The third option is that there was a designer, there was a creator.
Designer doesn't mean you're the creator. I can design a building, but it's still the workforce who's gonna ultimately create it. You're not gonna see me on my hands and whatever making the building single-handedly. Which brings into the fact that what if there are aspects of God? Like, if you do believe in God, what if there's a designer who, when the universe did come into existence, a designer came in? Because ultimately, once things exist, law and order and maybe negentropy became a certainty or something like that. But if the universe did have a designer, well, first off, that they would have probably had to have come outside of the universe in some way, because the universe would still be young and thusly improbable of creating anything intelligent enough, you know. Or maybe it just popped into existence. We've discussed how that happened with particles, so
There was an inventor. This makes more sense, doesn't it? Okay, if you don't want to admit it now, it doesn't matter. If you don't want to admit it, it doesn't matter. I just want to say something to you guys, to the atheist.
Okay, I got a question now. What is a creator? A person or thing that brings something into existence. Once again, if the universe is all of existence, that, or all of existence that, well, all of it, technically totality is a subjective concept, but if the universe is all of existence, well, you just make the argument of, then you just make the argument of the universe wouldn't have a creator because the universe is existence. So unless you either A, start to saying there are higher existences, then oof. But go on, my boy.
Seriously.
I have no beef with this guy, nothing against him, nothing against a lot of people who talk about this stuff, really. I guess I'm a nihilist, kind of, but I guess epistemology matters more to me than the argument itself. Why did you make the argument, and why is you making the said argument meaningless and wrong, which sort of leads back to nihilism, but that's a story for a different day.
This is what I want to say. That you don't even need to logically follow these arguments that I'm putting forward to you. These arguments make sense, they're logically grounded, but you don't need to follow them. Because it's actually a natural predisposition to believe in God. And as the Anthropological Society of Oxford University have concluded through some very important studies that have happened in 2011, for example, that belief in God is a predisposed belief within children. So
people are naturally afraid of snakes and spiders too. Like, you aren't born not afraid to them. Like, your mind will have an inherent fear because your mind and the ancestors and their genetics and hormones were programmed to say, oh nah, we ain't messing with that. So there's a lot of stuff programmed into the human mind, and not all of it is necessarily like important or necessary nowadays. Like, you don't need to be scared of a lion anymore if you have a 12 pump gauge shotgun or if you just don't live in Africa.
To believe in God, you don't have to actually follow any logic whatsoever. You don't have to be a smart person. It should be a natural thing. So I say this.
Isn't evil also a natural thing? But you wouldn't. Evil's a natural thing too, but you don't see me robbing banks, or you don't hear someone trying to shoot up random stores for the kicks of it. People generally have a reason other than just that natural innate desire or natural innate calling to. For instance, I don't rob banks and other stuff like that. First off, because why? What's the point in doing it? And second off, even if there was a point, like, I could make billions. I'm not gonna lie. Laziness. Some people, a lot of people, including myself, just find most of the things that are morally wrong by our society. It's too difficult for me to actually. I'm just too lazy to actually try doing it. But, you know, some people have other reasons, like the fact that they're actually moral and they actually care about how others feel, supposedly, you know? But, yeah.
I say it's time now. It's time to stop fooling ourselves. It's time.
Who's ourselves?
No, I'll say it one more time. I said it's time. It's time to release yourself.
Nah, bro. It's time to subscribe to Michael Anuradha-Khufu, that's me, or Sampa Turtle Tales, whatever I call this channel. And it's time to like and share. You know you want to share this. But, yeah. The original video, this one that we reacted to, will be linked first in the description. The Kurzgesagt video will be linked second in the description or in a pinned comment. And with that, you are awesome and have a wonderful day.